Hello, everyone. Welcome. This is episode 23 of Bases Loaded, brought to you from my house. Thank you all for joining us.
This is our first episode on YouTube, so go make sure to like, comment, subscribe, all that. It should be Bases Loaded, I think, is going to be the name.
Yes.
Also follow us on Instagram and Twitter, WNTH Bases Loaded. We got a lot of news to talk about.
Lots of news.
A lot of signings. Liam Hendriks went to the Sox. LeMahieu back to New York. Kyle Schwarber, beloved Cub, back to Washington. But let's start off with the New York Mets landing Francisco Lindor. What do we got?
I think
This
that
happened.
Yeah, I think the Mets definitely won this trade, even though Lindor's got one more. This is the last year of his contract, free agent after this year. But I mean, that infield is just going to be stacked with Pete Alonso, McNeil, Lindor. Now, I mean, that is just, and James McCann behind the dish. That's a great infield right there. Pretty solid. So, three all-stars right there, I would say. Pretty crazy. I think that, it's a little bit of all or nothing for the Mets, but we'll see.
I don't know how you can say the Mets definitely won this trade when they traded two of their top prospects, or two players that at one point were top prospects, for 1 year of any player. 1 year of Mike Trout is not worth two former top 100 prospects. If your team is not that one piece away from that championship level. I think if the Mets are able to re-sign Lindor, which I think they probably feel pretty confident. Yeah, I think it's pretty likely they do, or at least they believe they definitely have the money to, with Steve Cohen taking over. I think if they end up re-signing Lindor, then it is a very, very good trade for the Mets. But the fact that as of now, they only traded for 1 year Francisco Lindor, and their team is not quite good enough for a World Series yet, I do not think you can say they definitely won the trade.
I mean, this is similar to the Mookie Betts trade. Obviously, Mookie re-signed for, 9 years or something? So
He'll be with
that was obviously a win for the Dodgers. But what's different about the Dodgers and the Mets, I mean, both are big markets, both can afford Mookie and Francisco Lindor, but I don't think that you can say that the Mets are a favorite to win the World Series or the National League like the Dodgers always are.
They also just signed Brad Hand to be a I mean, they got a lot of relievers, but he could be a closer. That definitely brings them closer, but I don't think they're a contender. I think the Braves are probably still the best team in the National League East.
Yeah, I'm not sold on I don't think the NL East is really that competitive of division. I think the Braves, they don't really have that much pitching, but one of the best offenses in the MLB, I'd say. But I think that with this acquisition, I think the Mets could definitely compete with them, being in the NL East at least. So I don't think the Nats are anything to write home about. So I think it's going to be between the Mets and the Braves, and I think the Mets got themselves a piece that's going to make themselves a little bit more competitive in that race. So
we can talk about our projections or season predictions another episode closer to the season, but I think I don't want you to disrespect the Braves pitching staff, because Mike Soroka got hurt. Max Fried was a Cy Young candidate. So
They got a lot.
Anderson pitched phenomenally in the postseason.
They have a lot of young.
And they still got more
starters.
coming. They got more coming too in the farm system.
So they're very exciting, and they're not getting any worse.
I just can't see the Mets being that good just because they're the Mets and
Mets fans say it every year that they're this close to being in the World Series.
I guess they need to get Springer at this point. I think that's if they do get Springer, which I feel like he's it's the Mets' guy to lose basically. But if they do get him, it'll get him closer to the division title. But I still think the Braves are better.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard, especially if we don't know where Ozuna's going. We don't know if the Braves are going to end up trying to find a free agent to replace him, or if they're going to go with some prospects, or maybe a cheaper guy in-house. But again, we don't know at the moment who's going to be the better team. We'll discuss it in the spring, obviously, once the rosters are pretty much set. But I think it's close between the Mets and the Braves, but I think the Braves' postseason experience and much more depth, definitely, than the Mets. If the Mets got a couple injuries to their starting pitchers, I think they really don't have anyone that good behind DeGrom and Stroman that hasn't had serious injury issues. So
They also got Carrasco, who could
True,
be
yeah,
decent.
true.
I don't think he's been that good though.
Also serious
recently.
injury, I would say, consider.
He pitched well
Yeah.
last year, or 2020. But while we talk about the Indians, they got Cleveland baseball team.
Yeah.
We don't know. But they got
Cleveland Spiders.
Andres Jimenez, Ahmed Rosario, and then the Mets' 9th and 10th prospect, Josh Wolf, a pitcher, and Isaiah Green, an outfielder. And like Jacob said, I mean, these two guys, although, I mean, Andres Jimenez, we've seen a very small sample size, and Rosario was once a top 10 prospect in the MLB, but hasn't really lived near the expectations. But those are still two talented guys that, I mean, they're both middle infielders, and they could definitely fill part of Lindor's hole. And honestly, I mean, the Indians, with what we saw with Yu Darvish and what the Cubs got in return, this was actually a pretty solid return in my opinion for 1 year of Lindor.
there's a I don't know if probably close, but I think you can definitely make an argument that it's better than what the Red Sox got for Mookie. I think Verdugo is better than either of them, either Jimenez or Rosario are at the moment. But I think that and Gino Downs too. But I think the Indians are probably ended up a little better off than the Red Sox did. Also, I think Josh Wolf's very interesting. You've seen what the Indians have done with kind of no-name guys. Aaron Savali, Dan Plesac, Zach Plesac. So you gotta think that their scouting or their player development staff saw something in Josh Wolf that they think can they can turn him into the next unheard of starting pitcher that is going to become a Cy Young candidate. Shane Bieber too. No one really knew who he was.
Do you think they have to trade Jose Ramirez
That's
at this
what
point,
I was
or
gonna ask,
because I mean Jose Ramirez
He's
is
the biggest,
getting
yeah.
older.
The biggest block of their salary for sure.
But it's still only $8 million or
Yeah,
something.
he's
It's
not-
not.
Do they have the lowest? They have the
At the moment, probably they
Yeah.
do. It's only Jose Ramirez and Roberto Perez over like $5 million.
But if they're planning like a really long, like a rebuild for 3-4 years from now, like
Jose Ramirez liked and commented on the picture of Liam Hendriks going to the Sox.
Crazy.
That's all I'm gonna
Oh.
say.
Yeah, what positions do you
Yeah,
play for the
he,
Sox? Huh?
DH. He could DH if.
not happening.
No,
Um,
not happening.
But like I was saying, he's not going to be around for a 3-4 years from now rebuild, or he won't be as good as he is now. Like he's got the most value right now, and they could get a lot back, similar to the Lindor trade.
Yeah, there's been surprisingly few rumors about him moving anywhere, which was a little surprising to me, but there is also a chance that the Indians kind of want to keep him around so they can be somewhat competitive, have a big bat, great clubhouse guy, team leader, keep him around, even if they don't get the maximum return for him, make sure that they can be a little bit better this year and next year possibly.
And I mean, it's arguable that Jose Ramirez is better than Lindor.
Mhm. Definitely.
I think so. Yeah.
So
I mean, definitely arguable, not
Yeah.
definitely
Yeah.
better, but yeah.
So that's also interesting in and of itself.
Who had the better year, like hitting wise, last year?
Definitely Ramirez.
Yeah.
But 60-game season,
Right,
We'll
but-
play that card.
I mean, if you go back to 2018, Jose Ramirez was a top 5 player in all of baseball.
Yeah.
I mean, I
Was
think he went like
OPS.
3rd overall in our fantasy draft. Like, he was
That was me.
huge power, hit over 300, stole bases. I mean, 2019, he had that injury in spring training and never quite. By the end of the year, he was playing a lot better, but he started off slow. But if he.
My
Yeah.
fantasy situation.
Yeah, but I mean, if he gets back to that 2018 level, I mean, even just him, Cesar Hernandez, some of those lesser guys that can carry the Cleveland offense, score 3 or 4 runs, and let their pitching staff bring them back to the playoffs.
I remember in 2018 when he had that insane season. Like before this, in spring training, he like broke his toe or something, and like. I remember I was talking to you about it, and you guys you thought it was like a bad injury, and no one really thought he was gonna do well because he missed a lot of games at the start of the season. Then he went on to have like an insane season after missing a couple games in the beginning. I remember this.
2019.
No, that was 2019 spring training. He fouled the ball off his foot in spring training. Missed 2 or 3 weeks at the start of the year and came out terrible after that.
Yeah.
But by this, his second half was pretty good, but
Yeah.
he was hitting in the 100s
Yeah.
for
He
several
was
months
my
at the start of the
first
year.
round draft pick in fantasy
Mhm.
and didn't pan out. I was very disappointed. But the 2018 was his prime year for sure, and he had like over 30 home runs, over 30 stolen bases.
Yeah.
Total 5-tool player. The defense, I think his defense is pretty good. I don't know.
He's fast for like a chunk.
He's
yeah.
like, yeah, I don't know. He's like
the anomaly.
Kirby. He's like Kirby Puckett, I guess. Kirby
Yeah.
Puckett's
Yeah.
like 5'8", like really like 210, I think, and moved well.
So, yeah. Liam Hendriks.
I think big win for the Sox. I think this boosts their bullpen and pitching staff as a whole by a ton. I mean, it was 3 years with a club option for the fourth year, $53 million, backloaded. I think it was a great signing because White Sox get a closer a closer that's lights out. Sox haven't had a lights out closer in a long time. I can't.
Alex Colomé the
Alex
last
Colomé
2
was-
years has been about as good as you could have asked
I don't know if
for.
he was
I
lights
wouldn't.
out.
Yeah, I
No, he
wouldn't
definitely
call-
made it. He made it interesting a lot,
Yeah.
but the results,
The lights were dim. They were not out.
yeah,
It was dimmed lights.
the lights were a bit flickering on and off.
Yeah, exactly.
And they were about to fall out of the ceiling, and he rescued them at the last minute.
Well, White Sox number one priority coming into this offseason definitely was pitching, and I think they definitely got a step closer to contending for a championship. And I think that it was a great signing. I don't think it was too much. I don't think they gave him too much. And even if they did, they're going for a World Series. So that's my thoughts on it.
I'll say this. We've talked about it before. How old is Liam Hendriks?
33,
He's old.
maybe I want to say.
Yeah,
Look,
Oh, that's what.
he's been around everywhere.
guys, Liam Hendriks won reliever of the year. He was the best reliever last year. Blake Trinan did it. Edwin Diaz has done it. And the next couple of years, they are not the same pitcher by any means. I know Liam Hendriks has been a little bit more consistent, but if he's
31.
Yeah.
if he's the best pitcher in a 60-game season, that's a little suspect to me to be getting all this money.
Here's the caveat: it was 2 seasons where he was basically
Yes.
the best pitcher, the
Yeah.
best relief pitcher. Which Trinan, Edwin Diaz, whatever, they were one season, like one insane season, which happens a lot. But I definitely agree with you. Like relievers are very volatile, and it's not.
Yeah, Kirby Yates.
Yeah, he won exactly. So by the end of that 3-year deal, in the 4th year, assuming that Sox pick it up, like that would be. I can't see him still being the best reliever. He's not
Oh, yeah.
Aroldis Chapman. He's not Craig Kimbrell. He's not.
Not even those
Moran.
guys. I mean, like the only relievers that have been a absolute consistent
Kenley.
all-star for more than 3 or 4 years are Rivera, Hoffman, and then maybe you could say Kenley Jansen, but even though he's not really been
Yeah.
like a reliever of the year candidate. But Hendricks, the last 2 years, has been the best reliever in baseball. The guys like Edwin Diaz, Blake Trinan's part of the reason that at least Edwin Diaz I know fell apart was control issues. Hendricks has had absolutely no control issues. He keeps his walks down, throws strikes, throws hard, but has really good command of his pitches. And the odds that he's worth $18 million a year, or not 18, $14 million a year at his age 34 season, probably not super high, but to get good pitching in the free agent market, you often have to overpay. You have to spend a lot. You have to overpay for what it's worth. But if he's good for these first 2 years at least, if he locks down that bullpen, that at least gives the White Sox time to develop Cody Hoyer, Matt Foster, Aaron Bummer into that lockdown closer for the next 2 or 3 years.
Aaron Bummer's already a top 10 reliever, I'd say for sure. So I think
As to that, I saw that list with the
By
top
MLB
10
Network.
relievers in baseball. I don't think Aaron Bummer's number 8 on the 8th best reliever in baseball yet. I don't think he's better than Josh Hader.
Yeah.
I will take Josh Hader
Yes, I would
for
take
sure.
Josh Hader.
over Aaron Bummer.
Yes.
But I do think that he is definitely a great 7th inning option, gets lefties out, and will be a really important piece to this White Sox bullpen.
And Crochet, I'm sure is gonna whatever forearm injury he had in the postseason. I don't think
That shouldn't
I wouldn't
shouldn't
worry
be
about
an
that
issue.
too much. I think that he'll have a great season too. Hopefully.
Now
so.
is he
So I think the White Sox have said that he's gonna be in the bullpen for 2021, but the long-term plan still is for him to be a starter.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well,
That also, however, will depend on the White Sox ability to develop Dylan Cease into a top line MLB starter, to see if there's anything left in Ronaldo Lopez, to see if Michael Kopech can turn into anything, and also guys like Jared Kelly, who they just drafted, Matt Thompson and Andrew Dahlquist from the 2019 draft.
Dane Dunning.
He's
He
on
got
Texas
traded.
now.
Oh, that's right.
But
Traded for
Kelly,
Lance
you
Lynn.
said Jared Kelly.
I did say Jared Kelly. That will be a few more years down the road still. He's only 19 right now. He's the last batter he faced in the game was our age. So he
Wow.
the last time he faced a batter in the game was a high school kid in probably February of 2020. So he's got a long way to go, but definitely good. Gonna look good down the road.
I'd also like to say that in the backstop for the White Sox, they have arguably the best defensive catcher in the MLB, Yasmani Grandal, and I think that will play a big role in the development of these young pitchers, as well as maybe like the longevity of Liam Hendriks. You know, a pitcher and catcher relationship is very important, I think.
Well, also Liam Hendriks and Yasmani Grandal both use Codify, which is like a private analytics company that they use for scouting reports on hitters to basically get tracking data and suggestions and scouting reports of like pitch types and locations for each hitter. Grandal brought that to the White Sox last season. Giolito had been a part of it, and he kind of brought that to the rest of the White Sox pitching staff. And Hendricks has been pretty much was the first guy in the MLB to start using that. So just expanding the use of Codify in the White Sox organization, I think, is also something that is an important part of the Hendricks deal.
I also think Liam Hendriks had a really interesting way of coming into the MLB. He's one of the few Australians, and he's gotten DFA'd like I think 4 or 5 times. He's really had this weird rise up to be the best reliever at age 30. So I guess he could stay and stay good for a couple of years. But
I mean, we've seen like Drew Pomeranz, kind of Brandon Morrow, who had a lot of injury issues, but for a year or two was one of the best relievers in baseball. Guys who are average, below average, mediocre starters, but they have one good pitch and one average pitch and can turn it so they can be effective in a 1 inning or a 2 inning relief outing when they only face each batter once. So
well, Liam Hendriks said he wants to pitch a lot more. I heard he wants to.
Well, he said he liked that old school feel of having he likes the old. He sees himself as an old school pitcher and he likes the LaRussa hiring because he's an old school manager. So he wants to pitch a lot of innings, and he's.
I mean, we'll see how in the first year of a 4-year contract. I mean, you want to make sure that he's staying healthy, making sure his arm's fresh.
Well, he said he wanted
at least early in the season.
He said he wanted to pitch in 81 games, which is half the season, and I don't know
if you count the playoffs, I'm confident that he will pitch in 81 games.
I don't know if a reliever of like his caliber has done that. It's definitely been done by like lefty specialists.
He pitched in 75 games in 2019, and 85 innings. So I mean, it's definitely doable.
For sure.
Also, seems unlikely at the moment that it'll be a 162 game season. So we'll see.
Ooh, fingers crossed, but I think MLB season will start on time. I think that.
I don't know about that.
I think
Papa Rob says so.
He told him that, and if he's wrong, it's gonna look way worse.
Yeah, So I hope it does. Should we move on to the?
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess we can cut that part out. Actually, I'll explain what's actually going on later. But.
All right. Well, as of today, the Yankees announced DJ LeMahieu will be back, which was a big question mark. I mean, Chase was positive. That
I just thought if he would have
Bleacher Report.
I know that like the MLB offseason has moved very slowly compared to I guess any other off seasons, but except I guess Machado and Harper. But I think that deal would have been done at like earlier at some point. I thought like he would have. I don't know. Yankees always have.
You make a fair point. Like usually when the guy re-signs,
Yeah.
it doesn't take a super long time, and then they go back. If they're gonna re-sign, then they get it done quickly.
I thought there was some like moral like just didn't want it. He didn't maybe
But
even
I
want
thought-
to be there.
I told you this off the air, but I think what happened, or what was most likely going to happen, was LeMahieu was going to go to other teams, say like the Dodgers, and they'd offer him
Just to drive the price up.
Yeah.
they'd offer him $85 million, and he'd go back to the Yankees, say the Dodgers offered me this, you got 14 days or whatever it is to offer me or to match that, and they clearly did, and he just went back because they're his.
So 6
priority.
years, 90 million, right?
Yeah.
People are saying that was a steal. Like, well, do you think that's a steal?
Well,
He is a little.
he's
He's
30
he's 34. Yeah, he's older. On the older side.
I think
For
DJ
sure.
LeMahieu doesn't like.
Or 33.
He doesn't rely on being. He's not a very athletic guy
Yeah.
right now.
He'll
Right?
age well.
Yeah, he's not.
He should. I mean, at second
He doesn't
base,
need to
like,
be
down-
He's tall. He can be a first
Yeah.
baseman.
Yeah.
He has played first.
I think similar to like Daniel Murphy.
Daniel Murphy, that's what I was gonna say,
I
yeah.
know he hasn't aged as well as.
Or Ben Zobrist, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Older second baseman.
But yeah, he has not relied on being a super athletic, guy to hit like he does. He hits 330 every year,
Yeah.
so
Pete
I-
Rose
and he's
kind
got-
of honestly.
yeah.
He kind of
Yeah, a little bit.
hit king. But yeah, I mean, it's an interesting contract because I feel like for the next 2 years, he's worth more than 15 million
Absolutely.
a year.
I
But
think
then
so.
also that 6-year deal allowing him to stay in New York, it's got to be for the rest of his career. I don't know if there's an opt out in it, but I'm assuming that it's just 6 years straight up. So that's the rest of his career. I mean, the thing is, it's the Yankees, so if they have to pay him 15 million, it's not going to like eat into what else they're going to be able to spend. Like they're going to be fine. They're still going to be able to spend money, even if they have to cut LeMahieu with 2 years left. Like they kind of like had to do with A-Rod. Like if this contract goes bad in 2025, the Yankees are going to end up okay.
I-
Another team like I don't really know what other teams were that interested in LeMahieu, but if he signed like with the Blue Jays, and the Blue Jays offered him 15 million and they have 30 million of dead money in 2026, 2027, that's a big issue for the Blue Jays. Like they don't bring in the profit. They can't just have the owner write a big check to the organization again. Like
First,
eating up that portion of a contract, so a much bigger deal for other teams.
2019, when his first year with the Yankees in 2019, he also hit 26 home runs, which I remember like he was, I think, being in that like shorter porch. It didn't really show up in the numbers. In 2020, he only hit 10, but shorter season, whatever. I think that he also has some pop in there too.
Yeah.
He can drive and run.
I
It's
so-
not a huge pull hitter though, so
Yeah.
you can't
Yeah.
use that right field.
Yeah.
porch.
I think it's really the stadium effect. I mean, I hate to play that card,
Yeah.
but he played in Coors Field, won the batting title there. He he played in Yankee Stadium, obviously, and he's not a pull hitter. He can pop it up to right field where it's 319 feet
Yeah.
to straightaway right. I've seen him hit that home run a lot. He definitely benefits from that. But I think this contract, because it's so long, can let the Yankees try to sign another guy this year,
Mhm.
maybe next year even.
Do you think they will move him to first, and then like Voit will just be like DH, or how is that gonna?
I doubt Voit is in the Yankees' long-term plans more than a year or two down the road. But for this year, I think they'll try and keep LeMahieu at second as much as possible.
Luke Voit was insane though in 2020, didn't he?
Yeah, I mean it's a 60-game season again. Not really that big power guy. Those don't tend to. Guys like Luke Voit that pop up one year and hit 30 home runs don't tend to be.
Daniel
Whatever it would have been. They don't tend to keep doing that year
Right.
after year after coming out of nowhere. So
But they have Giancarlo Stanton, who should kind of be a DH.
Yes.
You're not going to put him in left field, and Luke Voit also should be a DH. But the thing is, if you got
Andujar too.
Right,
He was
Andujar,
terrible.
for sure. They also, I've heard Yankees fans want Gleiber to move to second because he's not as good at shortstop for some reason. Then you'd have to move LeMahieu to first.
I mean, they did Jeter shortstop for a long time.
Yeah.
and who's playing short then?
I don't know. They'd have to sign someone.
Yeah.
Well, the Yankees are set.
Bring Didi back.
They got plenty of depth. Like
Wasn't
Gio
there some
Urshela.
Trevor Story rumors that he may be on the block?
Yeah,
That would be
I
interesting.
think the Rock.
Who knows what the
Yeah,
Rockies are doing?
they're in trouble.
They are in the Chicago Bears situation of having a couple good players but no money
And a
and
lot of tension.
Stars and studs.
a lot of
Or
bumps.
stars and
They have Herman
but,
though.
yeah.
As long as you have Herman, you're chilling.
Jermaine.
Hermaine Marquez.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
saying?
But Rockies they got a lot of disagreement going on too with their players. No one or not. So
Yeah, I don't know how that's gonna fizzle out.
you know what I think the Rockies need is a rebrand. They need
Yeah.
to switch
Why?
up. They need more purple in their uniforms.
I do like the purple uniforms.
But like I do not mess with the gray lettering on the white jerseys with the black pinstripes. I think
I like their matte helmets though, with like in like the CR kind of like extends out.
I like them.
They're the only team with vest jerseys.
I don't know. Do they still wear those though?
They like very rarely, but they do.
I don't know
Well,
if Nike
the
is,
Reds have worn
That's a
those.
good point. Those were a throwback.
Yeah.
I don't know if the Rockies wore those this year.
One of my favorite Rockies players is definitely Ramiel Tapia.
Why is that?
Ramel.
Absolute
Thanks for letting us know.
speed demon, and I think he'll be good.
I don't think
I think
so.
he'll turn out to be a good player.
I think vest jerseys should come back. That's something I can get behind.
I'll tell you what. My favorite Rocky is Daniel Bard. He gets signed with
Yeah.
He signed with like the Dodgers or something,
Did he?
right?
Oh.
How about Tony
anyway.
Walters? You don't like Tony Walters?
I like Tony Walters.
Tony
Daniel
Walters.
Bard, obviously, but yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Daniel Bard probably my favorite Rocky as well.
I gotta say, I'll go with Pat the Light guy. He's got like a cool name.
It's a good name.
Oh yeah, good point. Whatever.
Actually, I'll change
Garrett
it.
Hampson's fun too.
I'm going with Jamie Moyer when he was like 47
Yes.
on the Rockies.
Throwing 81.
Yeah.
Sorry.
The
Getting it
68
over
mile an
the
hour
plate.
changeup. Oldest player to get a win.
Philip Deal.
That was good Rockies talk.
Yes.
Right.
Unlike Rockstar.
Rocks.
We did not talk about the Rockies enough on this.
I think that them
That's
and like the Diamondbacks we are.
Yeah, they're
That's
kind of
true.
irrelevant.
That's Texas. The West we really don't focus on.
We
much.
need an
Yeah, we
episode.
talk about the Mariners like a little bit. I feel like.
I don't know.
Do we?
Yeah. It's all
Uh,
right, but-
We don't talk about the Angels.
We need to have an episode where we just talk about the teams that we never never
Yeah.
get the press.
Yeah.
You
We
know?
should
Like,
really
you know.
go into Scott Oberg. Right?
Oh yeah.
Um,
Random relievers. That's a great.
Other than like bashing the Astros, we don't really like talk about them.
Yeah, I mean they were in the
otherwise.
playoffs.
Yeah.
I mean,
There's not really much to talk about there. It's just like I feel
Yeah.
like they're the same team.
anyway.
Every-
Losing Springer though is gonna.
Yeah, that's gonna hurt. Where do you think he ends up?
Well,
That's
Probably
an
not.
easy
You
answer.
think so?
yeah. Uncle Stevie Cohen is gonna spend money.
Steve Cohen.
What if he ends up with like some? What if he ends up with like some random like the Rangers? What if he goes to the Rangers?
I don't.
I don't
think-
know why the
I-
Rockies would.
I don't know.
Or the Rangers would.
Well, a team we don't talk
A
about
team
often.
that like has a lot of money but isn't like maybe looking for
I don't know if George Springer wants to go. Yeah, I think he wants to get away from Texas.
yeah probably.
Get out of.
He's been there a
Texas.
long time.
He's from the Northeast, I think. I think he is.
I'm sure he is.
I'm guessing he's from Connecticut.
As much as
I
this
think
has been
he's
a
from-
great segment, I
I
think
think-
we do have something else too.
I-
This
think
was the segment where we just let our thoughts take us to where we're
Yes,
going. We started
exactly.
on what? The Yankees to
I knew it.
New-
Rockies jerseys.
Okay, George Springer's from New Britain, Connecticut. I knew
Thanks
it.
for letting us know.
Home of the New Britain Fisher Cats? Yeah, it is the Fisher Cats.
If you're from New Britain, Connecticut, give us a DM.
Yeah.
What's up? Anyway,
So
I'll give you a
that's-
$25 gift card to Steak and Shake. If you
So-
are from New Britain, Connecticut, and you can prove it.
I doubt they have Steak and Shake in New Britain, Connecticut.
That's
Send us some fish sticks, some frozen
And-
fish sticks.
As we
I
try
don't
to-
like fish
What do they got in
sticks.
Connecticut?
The Suns,
people.
the Connecticut Suns,
The
WNBA. Yeah.
The Sun.
So-
The Sun.
No,
It's
no
singular.
S. That's a good trivia question. Teams with no S.
There's plenty in the WNBA.
Where's Yale?
Wow.
Where's Yale?
New
The
Haven.
Lynx.
Connecticut? Yeah, it's in Connecticut.
New
The
Haven.
Dream. The
Yeah,
Sky.
Right.
Or any with an S.
The
Mystics, I
Fever,
guess.
The Fever. The Sparks. The Storm.
Well,
Aces is an S.
As I keep trying to end this segment where I ended up on WNBA.
Wings. Dallas Wings.
Okay. Well, a team that has.
What's
Guys.
Did you hear Mark Davis or
They're just hearing dead air now, by the way.
did you hear Mark Davis or what's his
Chase, you have a lot coming.
Okay, stop. Mark Davis, Raiders.
Yes, I know.
Did he buy? What did he buy? The
The
Aces.
Dream.
Aces ends with an S.
Well,
Did he not say that?
another team.
Alright.
another team that ends with an S is the Washington Nationals, and they got a big signing. Not a big signing, 1 year deal. Kyle Schwarber, beloved Cub.
Notable for us.
One of my favorite players. You know, yeah, I'll give him one of my favorite players of all time. He's thrown me 2 baseballs actually. I only caught one of them. Chase,
I forgot about
Chase pulled his arm over my arm, and I dropped it because he was pushing me.
The lady behind us.
And someone else got it. But the other time, I got a ball, and the dude in front of us wanted to smell the ball.
That's right.
And it smelled, baseball smelled great. Either way, the Nationals got a slugger to play left field. I don't know where he's going to play, because they got Juan Soto.
Yeah.
And I don't think he can play right field because he's
maybe
not
they're
a
thinking
great fielder.
Maybe they think like the
back to catcher, maybe.
no
chance.
The universal. Maybe they think like the universal DH will be back.
But I think they announced there's no DH next year,
And it's a 1 year.
and it's a 1 year contract.
We watched a lot of Kyle Schwarber. He's got potential to hit 40 home runs every year, but he's with that comes suspect defense. But we'll say it's good because it's much better than
It's not as bad as Chase thinks
Yeah.
it is. That's all.
He is just about an average defender. I
Yeah,
believe.
but he gets on base a ton with walks, but his average has dipped a little low.
Especially in
but
2020.
Great 2019. He hit 250 with 38 home runs and like an 898 OPS or 880. But it hurts that he's going to be on a different team. But I'm glad he's on the Nationals. I would hate to see him in many places. So, but he has mashed in Washington in Nationals Park.
Yeah,
that's true.
I
Me and
remember a
Jacob
couple
saw in the 2018 Home Run Derby.
Yeah.
Fell short. Should have won because Bryce Harper's dad broke
He
the
was
rules.
cheating. Yeah.
But
Or Kyle Schwarber's batting practice pitcher didn't
Didn't.
break the rules
Yeah.
well
But
enough.
that makes him a rule he's a good person.
it's not cool to. It's not
Breaking
cool
the rules is not cool. Yes, it is.
Tatis would have.
Anyway, Kyle Schwarber was sending home runs into the third deck.
I also remember him having that 13 pitch at bat that ended in a home
Kyle
run.
Bearclaw.
I was gonna say that off Kyle Bearclaw. But it's an interesting contract because it's 1 year deal, similar to how Marcell Ozuna, Josh Donaldson, as I've said, have 1 year deals and they just rake and earn themselves a huge contract. And I guess Schwarber is betting on himself.
This is all we can get.
Yes,
There's no
that's
element of
also
that.
true.
I don't think anyone's giving him more than 2 at maximum. So.
Well, right now,
A
but
$10 million
that's
deal.
that's the point.
Yeah.
I think this
That's
is
a good
great
amount.
signing for the
Yeah.
Nationals and good for Kyle Schwarber. I'm happy.
I think maybe he wanted a 1 year deal, so he would maybe get paid more once they do have a universal DH. Like thinking that
Right.
after this year,
if he has a good year this year, teams are willing to risk.
Hello everyone, thank you for tuning in. Sorry for the video cutting short, but you can find the full audio recording on our Instagram at WNTH_basesloaded, and the link in the bio will take you to our Spotify page where you can listen to the full podcast. Thank you.